Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Standards. Today we have with us Carlota Bustelo. Carlota has been involved in standardization work at both an international and national level since 2003. Within ISO TC 46 SC11, the technical committee responsible for standards on archives and records management, she contributes her expertise by actively participating in the advisory group, which supports the chair in setting strategic directions. Currently, she serves as convener of Working Group 8 Management Systems for Records, the group responsible for the ISO 3300 series of standards. In this role, she works closely with other technical committees drafting management system standards, such as ISO 9001 for quality, ISO 40001 for environment, ISO 27001 for information security, to develop a common strategy and vision for management system. Today, she joins us to share her views on how these standards can help organizations achieve their strategic objectives. Hello, Carlota. It's a real pleasure to have you here with us. How are you today?
Fine, and thank you very much, Aldo, to invite me to have this interview.
Let's start with the basics. Could you walk us through what ISO 30301 is, how it fits into the ISO 3300 family, and how it differs from ISO 15489? And looking at today's context, why is it important for organizations to adopt and even certify against ISO 30301?
Okay, I try to explain. ISO 30301, first of all, is a management system standard that is a kind of different standards or a group of standards that are for the management of organizations. And the first management system standard was the most famous or most well-known in the world, that is 9001. Probably some people understand ISO, and at the same time you heard ISO, the following word is 9001. So it's the quality management system. So 30301 is a management system standard, and is the standard that defines the requirements to be met for implementing a management system for governing records. And this is done by establishing a records policy, objectives, and processes. And what is interesting from ISO 30301 and is this standard shares the same methodology of continuous improvement in the management of organizations that the other management system standards. So it's a common methodology with different aspects. One of the aspects could be the quality, the other aspect could be information security, and a lot of more, but including this, the records. How do you manage the records? So that is including this aspect to be taken in account when establishing the management system of an organization. And that is basically what it is, 30301. And 30301 is a standard that was published after of 15489. 15489 was the foundational standards of the records management domain and includes principles and concepts. 30301 insert in the requirements every principle and every concept in ISO 15489. So adopting 30301 is a way to formalize in a systematic way the creation, capture, and management of records, and the understanding records, that is the most important part, as an important asset for any organization. That is about adopting. But the following step is certifying. The management system standards has this ability to be certified. They are written in a way that can be easily certified by a third party. Certification is an independent third party that look at your system and say you are in compliance with this standard. So this is an option. It's not compulsory. You can implement 30301, but not certify. But certifying the management system is an option for the organization seeking for an independent judgment about compliance. And as any other certification of any other management system, the certifications provides assurance of doing things well and an external vision of possible areas of improvement, as well as reinforcing the images and reputation of the organization.
Now we want to discuss strategic relevance and the certification. Thinking about the strategic side, what benefits can organizations expect from implementing a management system for records in line with ISO 30301? How does a certification help improve their credibility or ability to collaborate with, for example, public institutions? And finally, considering that certifications such as ISO 9001 or ISO 27001 are already required in many procurement processes, do you think ISO 30301 should follow the same path and become a prerequisite, for example, in certain contracts?
Okay, so I think I start with the last one. I would like to see it as a normal, frequent practice. I have seen some, not a lot, public procurement in this sense mention ISO 30301 as one of the requisites. But it's always related, at least in my experience. I don't have the whole experience, but in my experience, what I see is it is always related to records and archive services. So I have understood this requirement included 301 as a way to be sure the organization you are contacting or you are contracting has, can I say, walk the talk. That means if they have a good internal approach to records, they can provide a good external services. So I think that this is one that is happened, not a lot, and could be a way to assure that the service you are contracting is good. That is the way. But on the other hand, if as practitioners we insist that is important for the people that you or the companies you or the service you want to contract, probably could be a way. But I don't have the crystal ball in this sense. I would like, as I said. And what is the benefit? That is your first question. What is the benefit? Okay, the benefit to implementing 30301 is implementing a very well-known structure for management systems. That means to define a records policy, planning objectives and plans to achieve the objectives, and a way to evaluate the performance and achieve continuous improvement. The first time that this methodology was published in a standard, it was at the end of the 18 years of the last century. It's the first time that ISO 9001 was published. And so it's a lot of experience in this methodology. So including records in this methodology is a benefit. It's a benefit for the whole thing of the records management in our organizations. So then all of this is yes, consider records understood as information, because we have some problems with the word records, but understood as information from a strategic point of view. And that is, I think, the main benefit and is the purpose that when we started to draft ISO 301, it was our objective, yes, to put records from a strategic point of view. And about the certification, it's the same as other certification and management system standards. If your organization is certified against a management system standard, it is presumably this organization is well managed. And in this case of management system for records, that they kept and manage records over time in an efficient way. So the meaning for a public institutions contracting a service or a product from this certified organization would be different reasons. But some examples could be, for example, warranty of have evidence records for any transactions you have with the other company. Or could be, why not, the presumption of not overprices related to the non-appraisal and selection of the information to be kept. Or could be the compliance with legal and business requirements. Could be different things because everything is included in the requirements of ISO 301.
So now we move to information quality and management. The theme of this issue of the DIGeAT Magazine is l'imperativo della qualità, costruire I dati, oltre I dati. If I translate this into English, it sounds roughly like to achieve data quality, you need to build your data beyond the data. In this sense, how can ISO 30301 contribute to data quality, especially given that the term record, as you said earlier, is sometimes misunderstood or used too narrowly?
It's my opinion, and as a personal opinion could be controversial, but I think that to achieve data quality, the proposal of ISO 30301 could be very interesting, as well as all the record keeping or records management knowledge accumulated during centuries. You are right when you are pointing to a misunderstanding of what is a record. It is an English word and with difficult translation to other languages, at least in my knowledge from my language, that is Spanish, from your language, that is Italian, is not, we don't have exactly the same meaning to have a good word for this. So frequently we have to use the official definition, that is information created, received, and maintained as evidence, as an asset by an organization in pursuit of legal obligation or in the course of conducting business. But it's too long to say this every time you need to explain what is a record. So what I did, at least in my language, is just to use another words that could be interesting to understand that a record is, for example, data can be records. Data can be records. So in this case, the proposal of ISO 30301 is an intervention from the beginning, defining the records to be created instead of acting over records created without control. If you apply this to data, you have exactly the same. If you think before creating the data, you try to control the data, then you have the data quality. If you let the data to spread as without control, then it's very difficult to have quality data. So if for this, I think that is very, very interesting. That is in the records management field is what we call appraisal, and to do this before starting the creation of the information, that could be data, could be records. It is very, very interesting, because the intention of all this methodology in ISO 30301 is obtain good records that can be also the quality of data. So in the same approach, we can use ISO 30301. It is very interesting, for example, that in the last regulation we had in the European Union, instead of in the English version of this regulation, the digital identity regulation, that one where they talk about electronic archiving services, they never use the word record. They use document and data, electronic document and data. And I think that probably for the normal people is more understandable. So when I implement ISO 30301 in Spanish, I try to put more things, more words to explain what is a record and to have this broader scope and not only documents, because we have translate in Spanish record as document, but probably it's too narrow when we try to do that. And really, the management system, what is the management system, is a big, I always say any management system is a big prevention system, because risk assessment is in the basis of any management system. And risk understood as the effect of uncertainty, that this, if you have an objective and you have uncertainty on you can meet this or you can reach this objective, then you are assessing risk, and then you are putting actions to mitigate the risk, and this is one way to make the management system. And then on the other hand, of course, risk assessment could be also applied to operational level, to the operational level of records management. And for this, we have this ISO 18128 about risk assessment of record processes, systems, and controls, and could be very, very interesting implementing together this standard with the ISO 30301.
Now we would like to explore a bit more integration with other management systems. So many organizations already have ISO 9001 or the other one on information security, which is ISO 27001. How can ISO 30301 be integrated with existing management systems? And I remember, and also from some earlier discussions I had with you, I know that this integration is often described as a plug-in model. Could you explain how ISO 30301 works as a modular component within a broader management framework? And you already discussed about risk assessment and other parts which are integral components of this management system. But since ISO 3031 follows a management systems approach, which includes all these parts, could you elaborate also on how it incorporates these principles? And I'm speaking about risk assessment, strategic alignment, continuous improvement, to work together with other management system, just as something that as a unique, actually unique component, as something which is unique.
Yes, the first answer is perfectly. Is this the management system standards are made by mandate of ISO to be implemented together. So for this is a very interesting publication. It's not a standard, it's a publication of ISO that is called Integrating Use of Management System Standards. And this publication is now under review. We are collaborating with it, with this new edition of this book. It's a kind of book, a small book. It's not 100 pages. It's, I think, probably 30 or 50 pages. Yes, to understand, to have these guidelines on how to implement together different management systems. but now from 2011 or 2000, yes, with the first edition of 301, we are working together in these common requirements and common definitions for all the management systems. So that means that the implementation of any management system that you have over a one that you have implemented is very easy, because the common requirements are the same. So probably you are compliant with more than 50% of the standard, and then you have to look to the specific part. To the specific part, this is this part that could be the plug-in. That means that you have specific requirements in any of the management system standards that plug in one management system, because experts in management always say the management system of an organization is only one. You have only one management system. Can be explicit or not, can be systematic or chaotic, but always is a management system. And when you have a management system that is supported by a management system standards, then you have this systematic way to have this management system. In this case, this management system, the only one in any organization, can focus in different aspects: quality, records, energy, information security. So the specific requirements for these domains that are mainly in these standards, and the standards, all the management system standard has exactly the same sections and subsections. So it is mainly one section that is different in the different management system standards, that is called operation. That is the operational part. The operational part is different in records, is different in quality, is different in energy, and this is the specific requirements that can be plugged in this only management system, the only management system of the organization. The requirements that are common are around the context of understanding the context of organization, the leadership, that including policy and responsibilities, the planning, the support, and the performance evaluation. What they means in practical terms, for example, for the policy, the management system standards say you need to have a quality policy, and in the 30301 in 9001, and in 30301 we have this records policy. But you can combine them. You can decide to have only one policy for everything. That is one thing. The other thing, if you have a way to the risk assessment, why to have different risk assessment depending on the domain? You can have one. And then if you have a way to make the audits, you can do the audits together in a combined audit. So finally, it's easier to put another management system over a existing management system. So I think that is the most important. That you say the risk assessment is one of the part that can be used for all the management systems, and is a lot of requirements that can be put together, and then be more efficient even in your management system.
So now we want to discuss application and the impact of these standards. Could you share some practical examples or case studies where ISO 30301 has been applied successfully? And looking further ahead, how does ISO 30301 support long-term digital transformation strategies, especially, for example, in fields which are very close to records management, such as IT governance? Finally, If we consider current market trends, which type of organizations are showing the most interest in ISO 30301 certification today? For instance, public sector, university, software consultants. More broadly, what trends do you see in the market around information governance and the certification for records management?
Okay, so a practical example. I have my favorite. My favorite is a port authority. I have been working for a while, and it is. I think it's a very interesting example. The implementation of ISO 30301 came together with an IT project of completely digital transformation of the organization. Um, and this project, IT project, it was led by the IT department, but they look at the 30301 as the way to know if they are understanding what they have to do, if they understand really if they are doing things well. So after started this project in IT as an IT project based in ISO 30301, um, they understand they already had implemented in the Port Authority ISO 9001 and ISO 40001. And after some years, it became an integrated management system, including a common policy, a common planning, a common performance evaluation, and finally, a common audit. So it's really interesting how this evolution, and just to understand that it's part of this management system. I think all the standards on records management, on the other hand, supports digital transformation. Because I think that the need of having the standards on records management really came from this need of digital transformation, because more or less in the paper-based environment, I think the people know how to do it. But when you go to the digital environment, you have a lot of uncertainties, and you need standards. You need to know you are not alone. You need to know that is a good practice, international good practice, and you are doing things well. So I think all the products of ISO TC46 CC11s are really intended to support digital transformation. And is for this is the same case for ISO 30301. And I think that you can find in these standards the answer on how to apply records processes in fully digital environments. And I think that is in every product that we have produced in these years in the ISO TC 4611. Remember that the first time that the ISO 15489 was published, it was 2001. So that means that we have more than 20 years now of experience. But from the very beginning, I think the need was about the digital environments. And I think even the first publication of ISO 15489 was intended for this purpose. About the other thing is about what kind of organizations are currently most interested in ISO 30301 certification. As I said, I have not all the information about in all the world, but in my experience, on one hand, as I said, organizations that provide specialized services about records and management and archives, they are very interesting in say, I have this certification. But also I can detect another kind of organizations, could be public or could be private, but the common thing is information is the primary focus of their business, or a very important part of them. For the moment, I don't see a lot of interest in industrial companies, for example. But yes, in organizations where the information is really the primary focus. And about the trends, what we can see. As I said before, also I don't have the crystal ball, but evolution is constant in the field of records management, and then the subsidiary market of certification need to evolve at the same speed. Um, as I mentioned, we have this in Europe. We have this new regulation about the digital identity that is not directly focused on this, but including in the services you can contract in the market, or you can find in the market, including the electronic archiving services. That is very related domain. It's not exactly the same of records management, and it's very related, more and more in Europe, that we don't have, like in other countries, that difference between records management and archives. We are when we talk in Spain or in Italy about this, we are talking about the same field, the same area. So with this regulation in the electronic archiving in Europe, a new certification to become trusted electronic archiving services will be implemented under this regulation. And I am not sure, because as I said, I don't have the crystal ball, but let's see how this can affect the market, because it's the first time that we have official certification coming from the member states to say that you are compliant with this regulation. So it's a kind of certification that is stronger than the certification you do because you want. It's only because your reputation, because you have to have this for the market. In this case, it's very important to be in the list of the official list of the European Union to be a trusted electronic archiving services. So and the word trusted is very, very strong. No, you are trusted, and if you are using as a client, you are using these services, then means that the documents or the data that you have in these services, it have legal effects. So it's really a big thing, but it's coming. It's in the future, because it is not. The regulation is enforced now, but we are waiting what they call in the European Union the implementing acts, probably this month of September, and then the different member states need to put in place the certification. So it's for the following years. And let's see if this can affect the market also of the certification of ISO 30301. I really don't know. And I am very interested and curious on how the market is going to react to this.
We are almost at the end, but let's talk a bit more about the future. What are the next steps in the development and the promotion of ISO 30301 and the broader ISO 300 series? Do you foresee wider global adoption of ISO 30301 over the next, for example, 5 years? And finally, could you share with us your personal insights on how the methodology of ISO 30301 has evolved since you first became involved?
Well, okay, so then the future of the ISO 30301, we are working now on an improved version of 30301, hopefully to be published next year. It is not a main revision. It's not about the requirements, not a lot about the requirements, but an improvement in clarity and better wording based on the experience of the last 5 years. And of course, when it is published, we will start a promotion campaign of the new version. But as I said, the new version is not something completely new. It's just the same thing, but better explained and with more clarity. I would like to see a global adoption of ISO 30301 in the next years. But I don't know what is going to happen. What I can say, I am very surprised about the impact on the less developed countries, for example, Latin America, Africa, and Middle East. We receive a lot of comments from this part of the world. Um, and I see they are organizing training, they are organizing different workshops about 30301. But what I am sure, I don't have, as I said, I don't have the crystal ball, but what I am sure and what I believe is this depends on the professional community. Looking to the other oldest management system standard, the global adoption, for example, of ISO 9001, was related with a vibrant community of experts promoting the benefits to the adoption of the standard. So I think it's something that starts from it's not the top management that one day dreaming about how to manage better their organization. They are going to say, oh, I have an idea. I have an idea that is implementing ISO 30301. It's not, the world is not working like this. It's because they have an area or a department or a person in the organization that is continuously saying, if we can do better this, we can do better this, we can do better this. There is an ISO standard that could be very interesting for us. And that is what is because this that I said that is depending of the community of practitioners or experts, how the global adoption of ISO 30301 is going to happen or not. The other thing is the evolution of the methodology. I don't see really an evolution in the methodology since we started in 2008 or yes, 2008 or something like this. Because as I said, the methodology is very well known and very, very well established with the other management system standards. But I think the evolution for us, for the records management practitioner, is the evolution in the understanding of the management systems and how making alliance with other specialists within the organization around management systems could be very beneficial for implementing good records management. So I think it's more like understand that this continuous improvement methodology of the management systems could be very interesting to make the principles and concepts of records management really a practice in an organization. So I think it's more an evolution of the understanding than an evolution of the methodology. And in this sense, the evolution of the understanding, I am very happy because I think that we have evolved very well from the first time we published ISO 30301 in 2011. Because in 2011, I think the records management community look at this, say, what is this? And I remember that I received some criticisms saying you are using jargon that is not our jargon. Well, yes, of course, it's on purpose, it's deliberate, it's the jargon of the management system, it's not the jargon of the records management. And I think that is now is well understood, much better than in 2011.
Carlota Bustelo Ruesta, independent expert and consultant in information, documents, and records management. Thank you very much for your time and for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you, Aldo.